Hi everybody, Sarah at Caddy Garage. So it is absolutely pouring rain outside again today, so I just ran out to the garage real quick to tinker on a few projects undercover. Anyway, I figured I would tell you guys a little story time at Caddy Garage. When I did the video the other day on the Cadillac brochures, I had forgotten, because it's been many, many years, that I actually owned a '59 Cadillac flat top. But then when I said that the other day, I caught myself because I was like, yeah, you did. So anyway, it was many years ago. I was in my teens at the time. Oh my goodness, probably 18 or 19. I will get you the exact dates here in a little bit when I go back through pictures that I'm going to include in the end of the video. But it was a very fully loaded car. It had cruise control, it had power door locks, power windows, air conditioning, the autotronic eye on the dash. It just had everything. And I will also include the color here in a little bit. It was not Beaumont beige, but it was like the kind of dusty rose color. I will look up the name in my Cadillac data book here in a little bit and give you guys the paint code and the name of what it was. Anyway, I bought it from a friend of mine in Ohio. And he told me at the time, he's like, you know, when you get the car transported, it does run and you can totally move it around and everything. And he's like, the brakes do stop the car, but they're a little sketchy sometimes. So I already knew that it was going to be a complete brake job. You know, I like to have all my cars just get in, turn the key and go. So I had already figured on a brake job on the car. So when I called to set up transport, I didn't have anybody at the time that I worked with like consistently. Like now I have a couple of friends in the transport world that if they can't do it, nobody touches the car, because I've had some real nightmares, as you'll hear in a minute, with transporting. So I was just kind of calling around at the time, called some different brokers, and I found somebody who said they could pick it up and it was a decent price. So I'm like, okay, let's do this thing. So anyway, they get to his house in Ohio, load up the car, everything's fine. So, you know, it was about a week's time because he had other drops to make along the way. But he gets to my house here, and my street has quite a steep grade to it. I mean, not horrible, but it's a decent grade for sure. And so it was a big 18-wheeler car carrier, double rack, and he pulls up, and the car's on the bottom on the end. And so he puts the ramps down, and which gives the car quite a grade in itself. And I told him, I said, you know, the brakes, I've already been told by my friend, they're kind of sketchy. So I said, will you please hook it up to your winch that you have? Because I want it winched off, and I do not want it just, you know, depending on its own brake power or e-brake or whatever you want to call it. And there was I've learned this too from past experiences. If you can't really communicate super well with the person, don't let them transport your car. He was a foreigner. He wasn't from America, and I mean no disrespect when I say that, but there was definitely a huge language barrier. And he, as soon as I told him, you know, to hook the car up to the winch, that I was pretty much going to insist on that, he got a little bit of an attitude with me, and he's like, no, the brakes, they work fine. And, you know, us trying to communicate back and forth, and I'm like, you know, please don't do this. I'm like, no, they don't. I just had horrible visions of it shooting off the trailer backwards and, you know, wrecking. And sure enough, he got in the car, it fired right up, he started it up, and literally as soon as he dropped the car into reverse, popped it in gear, took the e-brake off, the car, my mom was with me at the time, and so I have witnesses to this, and several of my neighbors were out. The car shot off the back of the 18-wheeler like a rocket, and down my street backwards, because again, the nose of the car, the engine was toward his truck, and the nose was toward the street. Or the taillights, the back end of the car was toward the street. So it took off the trailer backwards like a shot, and I just started like screaming and bawling hysterically because I could tell that the car was out of control. I could tell that he had no brakes, and literally it started like fishtailing backwards down the street, going from side to side, curb to curb. And my street has an intersection at the bottom where it's cross traffic, and it shot down the street backwards through the intersection, and then literally like probably 3 seconds after it went through the intersection, a car passed. So if it would have just been a couple of seconds later, it literally would have T-boned that car and probably killed the person, because it was like a little Honda car and this was a '59 Cadillac. So I watched it just continue. We were running down the street at that point. I was calling 911. Because I had horrible visions that it was either going to hit a pedestrian or another car or something, and it was just out of control, going backwards down the street, side to side on the curbs. And so 2 blocks down, it went through another intersection. And then 2 blocks down away from my house, it ended up in somebody's front yard in their like fountain area on a pile of really large boulders. It's a beautiful house. It's an old house built of stone. And they had like a boulder fountain in their front yard with a little pond and things like that. The car literally went up over the curb, up onto the rocks, and so all these huge boulders were under the engine, under the frame. I have pictures of all this that I will show you guys in the latter part of the video. It was the most insane experience I've ever witnessed. Definitely probably the scariest experience in my time with cars. So anyway, we ran down there literally on foot, me and my mom. Like I said, I was bawling. I called the police because I didn't know if somebody was going to get hurt or not. And the guy, the transporter guy, got out of the car while it's up on all these rocks, and he's like, he was hysterical too, because I don't think he expected it. He didn't want to take my warning. And so, like I said, he was just completely shook up. And when we looked inside the car, he had actually, I guess in like the frailing around and all the panic of the situation, he had hooked his foot around the brake pedal and had managed to pull the pin that holds the pedal. So the brake pedal of the car was just in the floor, just laying there. So he had pulled that, like I said, the pin, and pulled it out of the back of the booster through the firewall. It was just insane. And so when he got out of the car, then, like I said, maybe it was because we had a language barrier going on, but he asked for payment because it was a COD, cash on delivery. And I said, no. I said, you just literally like practically totaled my classic 59 Cadillac. So we're going to have to take this up with insurance and your broker who sent you to do this job and things like that. And he got rather irate. So by that time, the police had come. I thank God above that nobody got hit or hurt. The car never hit another car. It never hit a pedestrian. It was just the wildest experience. And so the police had actually had to end up telling him, get in your truck, take it off this girl's property, and leave. So continuing on, the next couple days, I had a tow truck come out, and I had them pull it off of the people's fountain in their front yard, tow it back up to my house. The car, it ripped the one side of the body and dented it really bad. And then obviously the drivetrain was really bad off, because I believe it actually pushed the drive shaft of the car up into the tranny because of the impact when it hit the rocks. And so this beautiful running 59 Cadillac that I had that only needed a brake job then became probably a transmission and possibly even a motor rebuild. So I was absolutely devastated. I couldn't believe it. Called my friend that I bought the car from. He couldn't believe it. He was so sad because, again, he took beautiful care of this car, and it was just a phenomenal car. So highly optioned, so rare. And so then the battle began. I called my insurance company that I had at the time, and because I always insure my cars. Even though the truckers, the transporters say they have insurance, I still take the VIN number and put it on my policy before it's ever touched, ever moved. As soon as I buy a car and it becomes legally mine, it's on my insurance. So I told them what happened, showed them the pictures, gave them the police report, because of course the police had to report everything that day since it became quite an ordeal. So they paid me they sent me a check for all the body work on the car, fixing the wrinkled skins, the dents, things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, which actually my mom also brought up a good point, because I was kind of naive at that time. She's like, well, what about the drivetrain of the car? She's like, yeah, you got paid off for the body work of it, but what about the drivetrain, And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. So she actually went to bat for me and continued to battle it out with the insurance adjusters. They had adjusters come out to the house and look over the car. We had it taken to a couple shops and got some estimates and things like that, because they had to have a value, of what it would cost to rebuild it. So anyway, we did all that, and they finally made it right by me, and they paid me back everything that my whole entire purchase price for the car that I paid my friend, and the work that needed done on the car. So I actually, before I ever bought the car from my friend in Ohio, I had another friend in the country of Denmark who was really, really interested in the car. So I emailed him, gave him the bad news of everything that happened to it, and sent him the pictures, and he was obviously devastated as well. But he's like, I still want the car. I love it. I still want to buy it from you. So I sold it to him at a very, 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 very discounted rate, because at that point he would have to drop the motor of the tranny, have everything rebuilt, fixed, repainted the car, all kinds of stuff. So like I said, I was very blessed by my insurance company. They paid me everything that I had into it. So I ended up selling it to my friend for a much discounted rate, and he still has the car to this day in the country of Denmark. He drives it daily almost and absolutely loves it. So like I said, little story time at Caddy Girl Garage. I hope you guys will enjoy the pictures that I'm going to now post at the end of this video, showing from the time that it got here on the transport truck. I have a picture of it still, of when the guy pulled up before he ever got in it and before everything happened. So anyway, I thank you guys for listening to this little story and my ramblings, but I thought everybody should know that, and it's raining outside anyway. So I just figured I would do a little quick video, say hi to you guys, and tell you one of my crazy Cadillac stories. So anyway, I hope you guys have the most blessed day. Check out the pictures at the end of the video. I'll also do a little bit more talking in the video to just a voiceover to explain the pictures that you'll be seeing, because it is absolutely a crazy ride. So anyway, thank you guys as always for watching. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay everybody, so I'm just doing a little voiceover. So it was paint code 49, wood rose. The car had many extra options. Like I said, it had cruise control, power windows, power door locks. It just had everything, power seat, AC. As you can see here, flat tops were very rare, only 4,847 of them made. There is the picture right before it shot off the back of the trailer backwards. You can see the transport driver in it. And then here is where it landed. You can see the fender skirt laying there. It got torn off and destroyed. You can see the skin wrinkled back right there in front of the tire. That was pretty bad. But like I said, most of the damage happened under the car to the drivetrain because it rolled up on a bunch of very large rocks. And I told you wrong. I thought they had a little fountain there at the time, but now they actually have a fountain. So I guess they were in the process of making it at the time. Oh, and there's the mailbox. It completely rolled over the mailbox and just downed that. But yeah, they were in the works of making a water feature in their front yard. And as you can see, the Cadillac rolled up onto all those boulders. I was so devastated. Little closer shot of the skin there. The whole bottom rocker was just destroyed. And then this is the day that it left to go to the shipping docks to go to my friend in Denmark. As I said, he still wanted the car, so I sold it to him for a very discounted rate, and he still owns it to this day. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.